The ScopeTech IQ comes with software for Windows that allows a user to pre-program a setup file for the unit, as well as work with reporting features. Using this software will save programming setup time, as the user will not have to manually enter setup data into the ScopeTech IQ. To install the ScopeTech IQ PC software, insert the USB drive or CD and locate the Knight ScopeTech IQ install file. Double-click the application and follow the installation prompts to install it. After installation is complete, locate the ScopeTech IQ desktop icon and double-click it to run the application. The main menu screen will appear after the application has loaded. To begin programming a setup file, click the Create Program File button. The Program File screen will appear. Enter the serial number for the ScopeTech IQ or any other company identifier that you would like to use. For this demonstration, we will leave it set to the default of zeros. Enter a password that allows access to all programming and system data input and output. This number should only be known to the department manager. Again, for this demo, we will leave it set to zeros. Select the language you prefer to use. Select units of measure. Select alarm on or off for an audible alarm when system errors occur. Select temperature alert on or off for notification when the sink water temperature is not within range. Enter the name of the hospital or facility. Enter the name of the detergent that will be used. Enter the manufacturer's minimum required temperature for the detergent. Enter the manufacturer's maximum required temperature for the detergent. Enter the amount of detergent to be dispensed in milliliters to achieve the chemical supplier recommended concentration, taking into consideration the sink volume. Enter the amount of time needed to flush the detergent through the endoscope. Enter the amount of time needed to rinse the detergent from the endoscope. Enter the amount of time needed to purge the water from the endoscope. The decontamination cycle built into the ScopeTech IQ has 4 programmable steps. Consult with your chemical supplier for recommendations on the required soak time to effectively decontaminate the internal fluid contact surfaces of the ScopeTech IQ. Consult the instruction manual for step-by-step instructions on how to perform the cleaning process. Enter the decontamination flush time. This is the amount of time required to suction the high-level disinfectant up into the flush pump and out through the discharge tubes and flushing tube assemblies. The time required varies depending on the length of the suction and discharge tubes, but typically should require less than 30 seconds. Enter the decontamination soak time. Consult with your chemical supplier for how long the soak time should be. The soak time is usually less than 10 minutes, but can be longer depending on the type of high-level disinfectant used. Enter the decontamination rinse time. This is the time required to rinse the high-level disinfectant from the flushing tube assemblies. Consult with your chemical supplier as they may have a chemical residual test to validate how much rinse, water, and time should be used to completely rinse out the chemistry. Enter the amount of time needed to purge the rinse water from the endoscope. Typically, this is set for 30 seconds longer than the decontamination flush time. Enter the names of each of the cleaning technicians as provided by the department manager. Enter the endoscope serial number, type, and model number for each endoscope that will be pre-cleaned using the ScopeTech IQ. Most industry instructions for use provide that all flexible endoscopes must be inflation tested, manually cleaned inside, and internal channels flushed with a detergent solution and fresh water rinse. The most common sequence for the pre-cleaning process is inflation test, detergent dose, detergent flush, manual cleaning, rinse, rinse purge. Modify the endoscope pre-cleaning sequence if needed. For systems equipped with a barcode scanner, press the Print Barcodes button on the bottom of the program file screen, which will allow you to print barcodes for the cleaning technicians and endoscopes. Once printed, laminate and post these on the wall next to the ScopeTech IQ for ease of access. After all of the fields have been entered, click Save and Exit Setup on the bottom of the program file screen. The setup file will now appear in the System Files view where it can be selected, then uploaded to the ScopeTech IQ. The system uses the serial number to name the setup file followed by an S suffix to denote a setup file. To save a file for upload to the ScopeTech IQ, press Copy Setup to a USB drive. Insert a USB drive, highlight the file to be saved and press Copy. Make sure the USB drive flashes for a second or two while it saves. Remove the USB drive from your PC. To load the setup file into the ScopeTech IQ, enter the programming mode on the unit by holding down the Enter button until the display color changes to orange. Once you have entered the programming mode, press Enter until you reach the Loading New Setup screen. Insert the USB drive into the USB port of the ScopeTech IQ and press Up to upload the setup file into the unit. Once complete, press and hold the Enter button to save all of your programming changes. The standard green runtime screen will appear, notifying you that you have left the programming mode. Remove the USB drive from the unit. This completes this portion of your training.